Happy Wednesday. Welcome to News Beast. We've got Lloyd Grove and Robert Zimmerman in the house. All right, we got a lot going on. Day after the election in Indiana, we've got the North Carolina vote and Michele Bachmann getting dual Swiss citizenship, which is just the weirdest story I've ever heard. But first, let's deal with the big news. Dick Luger, six-term congressman, losing a primary. Senator, sorry, my bad, of course.
That's 36 years, not 12.
Yes. To Richard Murdoch, who has famously said, the time for collegiality is over, the time for confrontation is now. What's your read on the race?
Well, it was a humiliating defeat for Lugar. He lost by 22 points. And I guess what it is
it's an ass whooping,
yeah, really. And what the message is that all incumbents, Republican or Democrat, but particularly Republicans, ought to be very worried. The electorate is very sour. The Republican electorate is bitter.
I don't think it's a humiliation for Dick Luger. I think it's humiliation for the Republican Party. Because and very frankly, this is an issue that confronts Democrats as well. We saw two Democratic members of Congress,
Altmaier and Holden,
defeated by left-wing, by liberal candidates. And of course, Lugar's loss reflects what happened with Bennett in Utah, Murkowski in Alaska in her primary. The point simply is that in political culture today, partisanship trumps negotiation from settlement.
Let's talk about the other big race last night, which was the North Carolina gay marriage ban. Right. I just got off the phone interviewing Ted Olson for The Beast, and he was just, he's just saddened by this. He thinks it will likely set up a, ultimate Supreme Court showdown, but he's so saddened that his fellow conservatives seem to be advancing this moment, and he feels that they'll be ultimately look back and realize they were wrong. What's your take on it, Robert?
It's not about right or wrong. This is about the right wing exploiting homophobia for the purpose of garnering votes. When George Bush and Dick Cheney ran these anti-gay marriage resolutions that were non-binding throughout the country.
Well, Cheney was in favor of gay marriage, but certainly the BCO
in 2004, but he and Bush certainly exploited that homophobic fear and exploited prejudice towards the gay community for the purpose of, and it worked, for the purpose of galvanizing a vote. That's the reason, in fact, that John Kerry lost Ohio. So realistically, looking at it today, I don't think the right wing is going to regret it. I think they're in fact just using bigotry and prejudice as a tool for the election.
But meanwhile, President Obama is publicly conflicted about, am I for gay marriage? Am I still evolving? And I understand he's going to give an interview today to ABC News trying to clarify his position, since Joe Biden and members of the cabinet said we're for gay marriage.
I don't think he's conflicted. I think he's hiding. And I think it's about time for him to stop evolving and start leading on this issue. And to me, this has become the Keystone Pipeline of civil rights. And for this president in particular, to hide from the defining civil rights issue of this time, and also to quote Martin Luther King, justice delayed is justice denied, really calls for leadership right now.
But as a sort of Democratic Party man, aren't you concerned that if the president leads on this, the ads write themselves? If Barack Obama wants to redefine the American family, and that in a state like North Carolina, as we saw last night, a swing state, or the DNC hopes it'll be, or Virginia, or Ohio, that this will turn undecided voters against the president?
As a proud Democrat and as a Democratic National Committeeman, a member of the governing body of my party, let me tell you, there's no hiding from this issue, and there's no reason, there's no excuse to hide from this issue. Any individual who's going to put their one focus and their defining focus of voting against the marriage equality is not going to be voting for Barack Obama. The far greater risk to the president is not leading the country at this time.
Are you going to be happy to have your national convention in North Carolina?
Absolutely, because we're going to give them a piece of our mind.
Excellent.
Absolutely. I'm not running away from that state. They don't know what it's like till they get all those Democrats nagging them for a week.
Well, and the thing is, I mean, it is a fascinating state. It's a state that is much more diverse politically, ideologically than I think people give it credit for. It's the Bible Belt, but it's also the Research Triangle. Final thing I got to talk about. Swiss Miss Michele Bachmann. This story, Tim Mack from Political broke this last night, and I got to say, I was so convinced this was an Onion headline gone wrong. So here's the deal, and this is the honest-to-God weirdest story I've heard in so long, but it's so within sort of the Bachmann realm of possibility, which is absolutely anything. Here's what allegedly happened. Marcus Bachmann, whose parents were Swiss apparently, applied for citizenship in February. It was granted in March. So while his wife is running for president of the United States still, ostensibly, and now she has, I get the dual citizenship, as do her children, and she gave an interview to a Swiss newspaper on the subject. This is just, I mean, I don't know how much more validation the people who said that she was maybe a little, you know, crazy-eyed need, but holy moly.
John, I think you're being unfair. I think this is very encouraging. If only she would give up her U.S. citizenship and complete the deal, we'd be all set.
I think this also explains why she's been so punctual.
I mean, but just can you imagine 1 second if we found out that President Obama or any Democrat had applied for dual citizenship? I mean, let's think about how that script would go. What are they hiding? Why do they hate America?
That's right, exactly.
I mean, unfreaking believable. And man, a good scoop by Tim Mack, and it is an onion headline go along. And unless there's some serious clarification, there's some serious splaining to do back in Minnesota. Lloyd Grove, Robert Zimmerman, let's do final word.
Swiss.
Paralysis.
Yeah, confrontation. That's all from us from Newsbeast. We'll see you tomorrow. That was great.
Was that okay?
Yeah, it was great.